Picture this. You're standing at Headingley, Leeds. Okay. Crisp English summer day. The roar of the crowd is just immense. And this legendary cricket team, India, steps onto the field. But something feels, well, dramatically different.
Definitely different. You can almost feel it in the air.
Exactly. We're about to witness what feels like a seismic shift in Test cricket. It's less like a typical series, and more like a real changing of the guard, a whole generation. So today, we're doing a deep dive into India's upcoming 5-Test series against England. It kicks off June 20th, 2025. And honestly, it feels like more than just cricket matches. It's a huge gamble.
A massive gamble. A new era for India, really.
Yeah, and the big question, the one we really want to unpack is, how do you possibly replace the irreplaceable? And what happens when a team just decides, right, let's throw the young guns into one of the absolute toughest arenas in world sport?
You've really nailed it there. The sheer scale of this change is what makes it so fascinating. I mean, imagine a band losing its iconic lead singer, the lead guitarist, and the drummer all at once.
Wow.
And they're still expected to headline the biggest festival of the year. That's basically the challenge India's facing right now.
That's a great analogy.
It really raises a fundamental question, doesn't it? In this era where, let's face it, star power often drives the whole narrative, can a team full of emerging talents, good as they are, truly step up, especially on a stage this tough, without those giants?
And the timeline makes it even more stark. This wasn't a gradual thing. Just weeks before this monumental series, May 12th, Virat Kohli, the maestro, right? His cover drives were poetry. He announces his Test retirement.
Just like that. Huge news.
And only days before that, May 7th, Rohit Sharma, the hitman, the guy that could hit sixes seemingly effortlessly, maybe while sipping chai. He cost time on his red ball career, too.
Unbelievable timing. Back-to-back blows.
And you have to add Ravichandran Ashwin retiring back in December 2024, the spin wizard. Suddenly, India's Test team just looks completely reshaped, fundamentally different.
It really does.
These weren't just, good players. They were the absolute heart and soul of India's Test side for more than a decade. Kohli.
Oh, yeah.
Over 9,000 runs, 29 centuries, often in the most intense pressure situations. He was number 4.
Defined it. Absolutely defined that spot.
And Rohit, over 4,300 runs, 12 centuries. 9 of those came after he reinvented himself as an opener in 2019. He completely changed India's approach at the top, gave them that aggressive edge.
Changed the whole dynamic of Test openings for India.
For context, it's like watching Avengers Endgame. But without Iron Man or Captain America, their absence isn't just about skill, it's the end of an entire era. They were both, in their own way, the Batman of Indian cricket.
Absolutely. And beyond those staggering numbers in there, it's the presence they had, the leadership, the sheer intimidation factor they brought to the crease.
Yeah, opposition teams feared them.
They absolutely did. Their combined, 21,000 plus runs and nearly 280 tests. That created this formidable batting backbone that teams literally spent weeks planning how to break down. So this isn't just a tactical gap they've left. It's a profound psychological one. The sheer volume of runs, yes, but also experience. It's just staggering what India's missing now.
It forces a whole new dynamic.
Completely. For India and for England, too. You can bet England's bowlers are looking at this lineup and thinking, right, there's a different kind of opportunity here.
But despite losing these absolute titans, India isn't just, lying down. They've actually made a really bold move. They've handed the captaincy to Shubman Gill.
The prince.
Yeah, the prince, as fans call him. Elegant player. But he's only 25, and he's stepping into shoes that aren't just big, they're legendary.
Colossal.
Because he's not just the new captain. He's also batting at number 4. That sacred spot, glorified by Kohli, and before him, Sachin Tendulkar.
Immense pressure right from the start.
His Test record? It's solid. 1,893 runs, 32 matches, average around 35. But here's the catch, and it's a big one.
The home versus away stats.
Exactly. At home, he averages over 42. Pretty good. Overseas, that drops to 29.50. And in England, specifically, across 3 matches, it's a mere 14.66.
Oof. That's stark.
It's almost like, I don't know, showing up to a gourmet cooking competition with a recipe for instant noodles. You just imagine walking into that job. Your predecessors were absolute giants, and your very first task is to outperform them in their toughest environment, with everyone half expecting you to fail.
And that really is the billion-dollar question, isn't it? Can he rise to this massive occasion? We've seen glimpses. That 104 against Australia in 2021 on a tough GABA pitch showed he can handle difficult conditions.
True. That was a brilliant innings.
And look at his IPL captaincy. Took Gujarat Titans from 8th place to 3rd in 2025. That suggests he's got a cool head, he can handle pressure, make decisions.
Okay, fair point. IPL's different, but it shows something.
It does, but you're right, Test captaincy is a different beast entirely. It's not just quick tactics over a few hours, it's a 5-day mental marathon. Sustained strategy, rallying the team when things go wrong for a whole session, not just an over.
Yeah, the grind is different.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you can be sure England will look to put him under pressure immediately. Chris Woakes has got him out before.
Yeah.
That forward defensive, there's a perceived weakness there.
Playing away from the body sometimes.
Yeah, maybe a tendency to play with a slightly open bat face against a swinging ball. Expect England to hammer that channel outside off stump relentlessly, force him to play, hope for that edge. They'll want to test his nerve right away.
Right. Now, let's not forget, England aren't exactly sitting pretty either. They've got their own huge losses, James Anderson and Stuart Broad.
Legends, absolute legends of English bowling.
Together, what was it? An incredible 300 and 308 test wickets between them. That's like losing your top 2 Michelin star chefs right before the grand opening.
It's a massive hole in their attack, no question.
India's vice-captain, Rishabh Pant, even had a bit of a cheeky comment, didn't he? Said something like, "It feels so good when both of them are not there."
Uh-huh. Typical Pant.
But then he quickly added, "They've still got enough ammunition." So, respect there too. They know England's still dangerous.
And that just highlights how teams have to adapt when giants leave.
Mm-hmm.
England will definitely lean heavily on Chris Woakes. He just has that knack, especially in England, of making life miserable for visiting batsmen with swing and seam.
He loves English conditions.
He really does. And Ollie Robinson, with his height, his ability to get bounce, he'll be hoping those Headingley pitches offer him something early on, ask those uncomfortable questions. And there's a really interesting side story with Shoaib Bashir, the young spinner. Suddenly, he's leading their spin attack. This is a guy who was apparently ignored in county cricket not long ago.
Wow, talk about an unexpected opportunity.
Exactly. It's a compelling narrative for England's next generation, too. Their whole strategy has to shift. It's not about relying on the relentless genius of Anderson and Broad anymore. It's got to be more collective, more disciplined pressure from everyone.
Okay, so back to India's batting. Without Kohli and Rohit standing there like monoliths, it's this really intriguing mix, isn't it? Raw promise, but also some huge question marks.
Absolutely. A lot of potential, but untested potential in these specific conditions.
Leading the charge at the top, Yashasvi Jaiswal. He's 23. He's probably India's brightest young star right now. Over 1,000 runs already, 3 centuries in just 14 tests. Phenomenal start.
Fearless player. Really exciting to watch.
Totally. He's like that new kid in school who just bursts onto the scene and starts stealing a show. But this is his first test tour of England. You got to expect some nerves, some challenges with the moving ball.
Oh, for sure. It's a massive test for him.
Then you've got KL Rahul. He's the senior pro now, 33 years old. He has solid experience against England, scored runs here before. But his consistency, sometimes it's like chasing a unicorn, isn't it?
Yeah. It's either a sublime masterpiece or an early departure. Not much in between sometimes.
Exactly. And the number 3 spot, that feels like a real wild card. Abhimanyu Aswaran and Saisud Hassan are vying for it. Neither has ever played a test in England.
Talk about being thrown in the deep end.
Seriously. It's like, here you go, swim. Hope you figure out the currents fast.
Big ask for either of them.
And then, of course, Rishabh Pant, vice captain, keeper, pure game changer. We saw that 100 at the Oval in 2021. Just brilliant counterattacking.
He can turn a game on its head in a single session.
And you just know he won't be quiet behind the stumps either. He's about as subtle as a firecracker.
Definitely adds to the theater.
There's also a great story with Karun Nair being back. Remember that triple century against England in 2016? And then he was out in the cold for 8 years.
Incredible recall. He must have a massive point to prove.
You'd think so. And Nitish Kumar Reddy, the all-rounder, he feels like a total gamble. But if he clicks, if he finds his feet, could India have found their next Kapil Dev? Big call, but potential.
It's a lineup bursting with what-ifs, isn't it? Potential match winners everywhere, but also potential vulnerabilities.
Yeah.
And that collective inexperience, particularly in English conditions, that's the real heart of the challenge for this batting group. History tells us when that ball starts swinging and seeming like it did in 2018, like parts of 2021.
It gets tough, really tough.
Yeah, Indian batsmen, especially those new to it, have often struggled to adapt their technique quickly enough. So it really raises that crucial question about their mental resilience. How quickly can this young group adjust? Can they adapt their game plans under pressure?
Leaving the ball well, playing late.
Exactly. Playing close to the body, surviving those tough opening spells, that's what will define their series, really. Success or struggle often hinges on those basics in England.
Okay, so if the batting is a bit of a work in progress, the bowling feels like an even bigger puzzle, especially without Ashwin's control and craft, and Mohammad Shami still out recovering from that ankle surgery.
Two massive blows to the attack, particularly Shami's seam movement and Ashwin's experience.
Your trump card, obviously, is Jasprit Bumrah. He's arguably the best fast bowler in the world. A total nightmare for any batsman. That action, the pace, 181 wickets speak for themselves.
He's just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Unplayable on his day.
But his fitness, it's always that slight concern, isn't it? How many overs can he bowl? Will he need a break? England's batsmen will be praying he needs a breather at some point.
You can bet on that. Managing his workload across 5 tests will be critical for India.
His main partner, Mohammad Siraj, loads of pace, loads of heart. You love his energy. But his accuracy, sometimes it can be a bit, well...
erratic, like a Mumbai local train schedule, as you said.
Yeah, something like that. And Prasidh Krishna, he's back from injury. Raw talent, definitely promising. Like a spicy curry that smells amazing but might not be quite ready yet.
Potential there, but needs refinement, maybe consistency.
And with Ashwin gone, the lead spinner role falls to Kuldeep Yadav. His wrist spin, when it's on song, can bamboozle anyone.
Absolutely lethal when he gets it right.
But England's batsmen, they've grown up playing a lot of IPL spin now. They might not be quite as easy prey as visiting teams once were against wrist spin.
True, they'll likely look to attack him, put him under pressure early. It'll be a good test for Kuldeep.
And then you have the young pacers, Arshdeep Singh and Akashdeep. Real wild cards, like backup dancers who might just steal the spotlight if given a chance.
Depth is there, but it's relatively untested depth in these conditions.
Yeah.
And that brings us back to the central challenge for India's bowlers, which really dictates the entire series outcome. Can they consistently take 20 wickets per test? That's the age-old question.
Always the key in Test cricket.
Always. And England's batters, even without their own legends bowling, are still formidable. You've got Root, Stokes, Pope. That's a strong core.
Stokes especially loves a scrap against India.
He absolutely thrives on it, often produces his best in those situations. So for India's attack, it's not just about talent. It's about sustained pressure, control, breaking those key partnerships against a deep and aggressive English lineup. Which attack can deliver consistently? That's the crux.
Meanwhile, England, under Ben Stokes, they play Bazball. That fearless attacking style, sometimes it looks like genius, other times maybe madness.
Depends on the day, doesn't it?
It really does. They got absolutely hammered 4-1 in India last year. Let's not forget that. Bazball met Indian conditions and, well, it didn't go well.
A reality check for sure.
But on home soil, they're a totally different beast. Much more comfortable crowd behind them. Their batting is stacked, as you said. Root, Stokes, Pope at 3 is a solid backbone.
Very solid.
But, like India, losing Anderson and Broad, their bowling attack feels a bit like a pizza without the cheese. Still potentially good, but just not quite the same iconic flavor. It changes their whole dynamic.
It absolutely does. They can't just rely on relentless control and wicket-taking ability from those two anymore.
And this series kicks off the new World Test Championship cycle, the 2025-27 one. So both teams will be absolutely desperate for a strong start. Points on the board early.
Huge context. Every match counts right from the beginning.
But if we look at the bigger picture, England's home advantage. It's strong, but it's not necessarily a guaranteed win, is it?
Not at all. India has beaten England in England before, famously in 1971. More recently, that great win at the Oval in 2021, they've shown they can overcome these conditions.
So maybe this series is less about Bazball just running riot.
And potentially more about who can simply survive the swinging ball better, who handles the pressure moments. Especially with so many new faces, new roles on both sides, it feels like a fascinating strategic chess match is about to unfold.
So let's talk stakes. What does this all mean? Because it feels like more than just winning a trophy. It feels like it's about legacy.
Definitely legacy on the line.
For India, it's a massive chance to end an 18-year drought. Can you believe it? They haven't won a test series in England since 2007 under Rahul Dravid.
Wow, 18 years. That's a long time in cricket.
It really is. For Shubman Gill, personally, this is his shot. Prove he's not just this elegant batsman, but a leader who can actually fill the shoes of giants under intense scrutiny.
Huge test of his character and leadership.
And for the coach, Gautam Gambhir. He's been under a bit of fire recently, some tough results. This feels pretty much do or die for him, too.
The pressure's on everyone in that Indian camp.
And for England, it's about showing Bazball is resilient, that it can deliver against a top side, even a transitioning one, and that their new-look attack can step up. Stokes, he thrives in chaos. He'll relish trying to exploit any sign of inexperience from India.
He lives for these kinds of challenges.
Absolutely.
And a really critical element, especially for this young Indian side, is how quickly they can adapt to the different venues. The preparation isn't ideal.
No, just one warm-up game behind closed doors.
Exactly. So they hit the ground running at Headingley in Leeds, known for seam movement. Then Edgbaston, Birmingham, historically, that's been a fortress for England.
Tough start.
Then Lord's in London, cricket's holy grail, demands perfect technique. Old Trafford in Manchester. That can surprisingly offer turn for the spinners later on. And finally, the Oval in London, which is typically flatter, more of a batting paradise.
So completely different challenges, test by test.
Completely different. India needs to adapt faster than a chameleon changing colors at a disco. They need to adjust their game plan, their execution, almost overnight between matches. That lack of extensive warm-up really raises a big question about how quickly this group, many on their first test tour here, can find their rhythm.
It's a massive ask. For 14 years, it felt like Kohli and Rohit were Indian Test cricket. They're heroics. Kohli dominating in Australia, Rohit's match-winning 100 here at the Oval. It's the stuff of legend.
Absolutely defined an era.
Now, it's entirely up to Gill, Jaiswal, Pant, and the rest to write their own chapter. And the Indian Cricket Board. They've clearly taken a huge leap of faith here.
A calculated risk, perhaps.
Picking youth over established, if slightly older, experience. Even bypassing Bumrah for captaincy, citing fitness concerns, and picking Gill over maybe Pant or Rahul for that top job, it's a bold statement.
It really is. And it prompts that question about the strategic thinking, doesn't it? Was this transition planned well enough? I saw one former selector openly criticizing the board.
Oh, really? What did they say?
Arguing they hadn't really prepared for this moment, for Kohli and Rohit eventually retiring, suggesting they'd been, quote, riding the wave for too long, without a clear succession plan in place. Sort of a reactive move rather than proactive.
Interesting perspective. Hindsight's easy, I guess.
True. But then, on the flip side, you have immense optimism bubbling up, too. Harbhajan Singh, I saw, enthusiastically called Gil Sahab the Great.
I praise.
And Wasim Jaffer believes these youngsters genuinely have the talent and the mindset to shock England. Even England's own Nick Knight acknowledged something interesting.
What was that?
He said, India's batting, even without Kohli, might paradoxically be glad Anderson's gone. It's like saying, okay, one huge lion has retired, but there are still these really hungry leopards in the jungle ready to pounce.
That's a good way of putting it. Recognizing the new threat.
Exactly. It acknowledges the danger this young Indian side still possesses. It's a gamble, yes, but one with potentially massive rewards if it pays off.
So, wrapping this up, why should you, listening right now, really care about this deep dive? Because honestly, this series feels unmissable.
Absolutely. Must-watch cricket.
It's got that classic David versus Goliath feel, doesn't it? India's young guns away from home, taking on England's Bazball brigade in their own backyard.
High stakes, high drama, guaranteed.
It's your chance to witness Shubman Gill's captaincy debut under immense pressure, Yashasvi Jaiswal's fearless approach, and hopefully plenty of Jasprit Bumrah's pure magic.
You just hope Bumrah stays fit for all five.
Fingers crossed. Will India crumble without their legends? Or can they somehow script an upset for the ages? Expect drama, expect thunderous sixes from Pant, maybe? And definitely expect enough swing bowling to make your head spin. And let's be honest, nothing quite beats the thrill of an India-England test match, does it? Every ball feels critical. Every session feels like it could turn the whole thing.
You're absolutely right. And ultimately, connecting this back to the bigger picture, the series isn't just about who wins or loses or individual stats. It's a profound test.
Mm.
Can this calculated gamble on youth, this rapid cultural shift forced by retirements, actually redefine India's entire cricketing philosophy going forward? It really forces us all to think. Is legacy built only by a few towering giants? Or can it be forged by a whole new generation stepping boldly into the unknown, ready to write their own history? What stands out to you as you think about this upcoming clash?
Right.
Will we see a new dynasty being born right before our eyes? Or will that huge weight of expectation just prove too heavy for India's young guard?
Fascinating questions. We'll have to wait and see.